I'm known for doing.
Oh God, what is it? Open mouth, insert mid-flavored chew. No?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to another edition of Autism Lifeline Links and Facebook Live across the spectrum. We are here today with our gracious host at Autism Community Network and the lovely logo behind us. And we have with us today Miss Rachel Vargas-Trevinio, who is with Any Baby Can. You've seen her beautiful face before. She's also a mom of a young fella on the spectrum, so lives this every day. So we're excited to have her. And then we have the lovely Adrienne Gaither, and she is with she's one of the occupational therapists here at Autism Community Network, and you have seen her lovely face as well. So we're excited to be here. And of course, Autism Lifeline Links is a project that works to bring together all of the agencies in our community who are touching people with autism, whether they be children or adults, try to bring them together to work collectively to improve the entire system of care, whether that's legislative issues or to work to reduce the silos between the organizations. And we do lots of creating community engagement and community awareness by doing Facebook Live and some of these other neat things. So the Autism Lifeline Links has 14 electronic referral partners, so that when someone registers with us, a care coordinator calls them, and if they need referrals to one of the 14 partners, they will do that electronically, and then the agency will call you. And if they are not one of our electronic referral partners, then the care coordinator will provide you with the information and the contact information for that agency or that service. So currently our Autism Lifeline Links electronic referral partners are Alamo Area Council of Governments, Any Baby Can, Autism Community Network, Autism Treatment Center, the ARC of San Antonio, Brighton Center, Camp, the Center for Healthcare Services, the CHOSA, Children's Hospital of San Antonio, the Autism Clinic over there, Disability SA, Down Syndrome Association, Respite Care San Antonio, Southwind Fields, and Special Reach. So we're excited to have all those partners with us. So today, we, as what happens with these great ideas, so please do, if you have a question or a comment, go to the Autism Lifeline Links Facebook page, and you can send those. Leslie with Southwind Fields is here, and she is filming us and going to keep an eye on those questions. So please send those in as we go through our session today. So all of these ideas about what our topic is going to be, what our subject is going to be, come out of our community engagement work group. And so that group meets once a month and to work on lots of issues. And we were heading into the holiday season, and we said, oh my gosh, let's do something on the holidays. And at first we were just thinking, of course, Halloween and some of the spooky, scary, jumpy things that are happening with Halloween. But then we said, well, let's just make sure we're incorporating the whole holiday season, right? So we know that there are lots of different things that are happening between Christmas and Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and Thanksgiving and the fall fests and Halloween. So we wanted to have that opportunity. We know that I'm personally overstimulated by the holidays. Where was I yesterday? I was waiting to pick up my son, and I saw them already stringing the lights around the trees, and I thought, Mother of God, like we're already doing Christmas, and I haven't bought my candy yet for Thanksgiving. So they are overstimulating even for people who are neurotypical. But then when you add, like we said, the jumpy, scary things, the dark nights, the costumes, even the touch and feel of costumes, not just sometimes the masked people, the overstimulation of robotic things around Christmas and some of those holidays, and then all the food issues about each of the holidays, but especially Thanksgiving. So I was thinking, Halloween is really a exterior, like outside of the home holiday. Thanksgiving is a really food-based holiday, and Christmas and Kwanzaa and Hanukkah are usually family-based kinds of things. Each of these presents really different and unique set of challenges for everyone, but again, particularly when you have a child with special needs and a child with sensory issues or food issues. So we wanted to just kind of go through and talk about, we'll go through Halloween and Thanksgiving and then into the December, January holidays from there. So I would like to just start Halloween. Okay, so we are right around the corner for Halloween. Adrienne has got some great ideas, and Rachel is always with her visuals. She's very, very great with her visuals. So can you start with some of your visuals? What is this trick or treat card thing here?
Yes, we have trick or treat cards, and all this will be available on our website later today.
On the Any Baby Can website or on the Autism Lifeline links?
I guess.
Okay, so on the Any Baby Can website, and we'll connect to Autism Lifeline Link social media as well.
And these are great because you can go and print them. They're in English and Spanish. Everything we have is going to be in both languages. So if maybe your kids either it's a little bit they're overstimulated, this can help them still go through the trick or treat, and it explains a little bit about them having autism.
Do they give this to the person at the
door?
They'll
just show it. Yes, they can show it at the door. I printed several because it has a line here for their name, and actually, I also have a social narrative that explains how to use these. So I'll get into that in a sec. So we do have these, and you can print them on paper. You can print just one if you wanted to, but they are available on four to a sheet because this also helps to spread the word about individuals with autism and our attempts to make their world wider by providing them support.
So before you do that, can you tell me, because this is in Spanish and I can't read that, what does this say? It says trick or treat.
Yes.
My name is...
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. I saw what I did. Yes. Trick or treat. My name is Rachel. I have autism and I cannot say trick or treat. But I'm learning a lot every day. Please visit, and it gives our website, for more information regarding autism and how you can help other children in the community.
Thank you. Okay, so before you do that, I'm going to have you show this, but I'm going to have you, Adrienne, first talk a little bit about creating social stories or visual stories. Can you just set a little context? So obviously for those of you who are in the community who have a child with special needs or have an adult with special needs, particularly autism, you're familiar with, hopefully familiar with social stories or creating stories. So can you just give a little context on what is a social story and what is its aim?
Absolutely. So I do want to give credit to the person who sort of came up with social stories in the first place and give you a resource. If you go to carolgray.socialstories.com, and it's CAROLGRAY, socialstories.com. A social story is a wonderful thing. It's a visual, but it also has narrative that goes with it. It's meant to be used before an event, hopefully several days before an event, so you can get repetition in there and using it every day. But it may have a photo with a narrative, and it walks the person through every part of the event that they can be expecting to happen. So Thanksgiving might have a turkey on the first page, and it talks about Thanksgiving as a special holiday. We don't go to school on Thanksgiving, etc. And then it may talk about we may travel for Thanksgiving, and it might have a picture of an airplane on the next page of the social story and talking about all the things that have to do with travel.
And so the objective, can I take this and hold it up to the screen?
Absolutely.
So this is the resource that Adrienne just shared. And I will hold this up so you can see that. And there are other social stories here. It talks a lot about what the social story is and links to how you can then, templates, I guess, or what would be, okay, great.
Yes.
So I'm going to hold that up for you all. And so the objective of social stories is to help the person become familiar with the situations that they will encounter, so nothing is a surprise.
Exactly.
Or like, how can you elaborate on that?
I love that you just brought up the word surprise. So a lot of people do better when they know what's coming. And there's a myth that change is unable to be accepted by people who are used to routine, which is not true. You can actually show them that a change is coming as long as you do it beforehand and make that part of your social story. Then it's often something that they're able to really deal with and understand that a change is coming in their routine or schedule. But we certainly don't want to be surprising people with something that's way out of the ordinary of their routine when 363 days of the year they're used to doing the same things one after the other, with being at home, riding the bus, going to school, etc., all the way down to mealtime, bath time, and bedtime. They're familiar with their schedules, and there aren't usually surprises in their schedules.
And so even, we think about, we're always talking about people with autism and people with intellectual disabilities on these Facebook Live events across the spectrum, but these are great for everybody, right? I mean,
Yes.
Any change in a child's life is so helpful to have these social stories. The difference being that so often, maybe a neurotypical child, you could just tell the story, you wouldn't need as many visuals.
Correct.
Or as many things like that, because they could relate or communicate back to you, that they understand, oh yeah, I mean, like the time we went to. And so often our guys
Exactly.
have, a third of our guys are nonverbal, so that can be a challenge. So I'm going to have Rachel hold up and just kind of show you what a social story kind of looks like. So you can just...
Yes, I'll go through this, and then because I want to talk a little bit about, because I was actually working on these last night at home, and my son, who's 12, came over to me. He's like, "Is that for me?" And I'm like, "No." I said, "But this is for work." I said, and you'll see some pictures. It starts with a general picture. I like to mark the date because that just is another way for our children to learn to count, learn length of time, how to wait, what to expect, and how long it's going to take. That kind of thing can build up. Also, use your imagination. Halloween's tough. Use a character t-shirt. Use makeup. Halloween isn't, you have to go buy a $50 costume anymore. And then, yes, to prepare them for their people who might look scary, kids and adults. It's not real. It's pretend. That's very hard for our kids to really understand. So maybe ask, a neighbor or a friend, can my kid look at your costume, and also that allows people in your community to learn more. And here, just showing different trick-or-treaters, ringing the doorbell, what the kids will say. They can say trick-or-treat or use their card. And then I have another sample card here. And then you go home. Mom and Dad will go through your candy, make sure it's safe, and then you get to have, I actually use goodies because a lot of people don't give candy. However, I want to make a comment, since we are talking about the social narratives. You can do this on cards, you can do this on your phone, on Word, and make it so it's portable. Also, you can do PowerPoints. My son loves to help me with the PowerPoints. He likes to pick the visuals. And a PowerPoint is building independence. And they have access to it on their laptop or on their iPad. The other way is we are now using Alexa and Siri to help a lot. You can have them do the narrative.
Interesting.
So that, because a lot of our kids, I'm his mom, plus I'm his therapist, plus, so.
Having you talk all the time. It's nice to hear somebody else.
It really is.
So Rachel's got these for Thanksgiving and the Christmas and other special occasions. And so just take that and, make it your own. And I think we've talked a number of times over these events how much cooler technology is, the different tools that we have at our disposal. So I love being able to have it on your phone, or if your child uses a communication device or an iPad for communicating, they're going to take that with them anyway. I mean, so just have it on there, and even doubly cool, like give them some of the independence to help create what that looks like. So just as before we move on to Thanksgiving and things like that, some of the we just talked a lot about the creating the visual stories. We talked about trying on the costumes beforehand, so they can gradually get used to that. Obviously, sometimes things are itchy or they feel different. You guys recommended put something underneath.
Absolutely. So just as an aside there, it's great if the costume fits over the clothing, but if that makes it too bulky and the child feels their body awareness just feels off in walking around in all this bulky material, you can use very thin leggings and a long sleeve shirt that's very thin underneath the costume, so it's not so bulky, but they also don't feel the pinching or the pushing of the parts of the costume directly on their skin. And the other thing I wanted to say about that was that if you can involve your child's special interests in their costume, maybe they love superheroes, if they could wear a cape, just be creative with what is special to them. They might be more motivated to be a little bit more forgiving with some of the sensory aspects some of these costumes have.
And so we talked about, and we've talked about it maybe directly, but like as far as tips and points, right? Practice going to the neighbor's house, especially when you have those neighbors who are really open and trusting and helpful.
And look at scary things in the yard.
Scary things in the yard, right? And so look at the decorations in the store. Drive around in the evening just so that they have those big blow up things and they're like moving. And so drive the neighborhood in the evening a few times before that holiday so they can see what things are. And you had said it and you had said it, but when you can look at the decorations in the store, even the costumes or the masks or things like that, what you had said is like it's pretend, it's make believe, and that concept is very difficult for our guys. So if you can have that, I'm not even going to say the name, but those scary masks that we all know about, right? Like, and then but I mean, like then be able to touch it and be like, see, look, it's not real. It's not real. Okay, so. One of the other things was also, if you think that the holiday might be too overstimulating to walk the hood, right? Find those fall festivals. A lot of churches have trunk or treats.
Absolutely. Yes.
So I don't know if do we know of any trunk or treats right now?
I do. There's one at Fellowship Bible Church this Saturday, starting at 6:30. Fellowship Bible Church is off of Hebner Road between Eckert and Babcock, so in the medical center. But it's open and free to the public, and that's one of those trunk or treats.
And so often the trunk or treats are done by churches. I know Laurel Heights United Methodist used to have one. I don't know if they still do. So Christ Episcopal Church. So go to that and check that out. Okay, so
just real quick, another holiday that really plays a huge role at this time of year is Dia de los Muertos. If this is all, really too much, that is a way to really incorporate what really the true meaning of Halloween and its origins, and maybe have a little altar with pictures of your child's friends. You can have beautiful flowers. You can Google it, candies, and it just also is another way to express the idea of the
love it
holiday.
Good idea.
Right, and especially getting familiar with the characteristics.
The macabreness of it.
Exactly. Yes.
Great. Okay, so Thanksgiving. So we talked in the very beginning. Oh God. So keep your social stories. Absolutely. So often Thanksgiving is usually someplace else. It's at another relative's house, maybe even somebody whose family, maybe even someone who's friends.
Right.
So there's a lot going on. There's food everywhere, and there's so many different. I'm just going to stop. Smells, textures, noises, clanging in the kitchen, so many things. So the usual things: start with your social story, start early, Some key tips you talked about, make sure that there is some food, whether you're the one preparing or
Bringing.
to say, and talk a little bit about when you're going someplace. Most of those people will know about your child's diagnosis, but just reminding them that Johnny's not necessarily going to
eat a traditional plate of food.
So can you...
Or sit in the middle of the table in between two unfamiliar relatives. Or even eat at the same time as everybody else. Or may not be able to eat from an unfamiliar plate, unfamiliar cup. There's candles on the table. This is not the fork I always use. So letting people know that there are ways that you need to modify traditions for your child who might be on the spectrum or have an intellectual disability is going to help them enjoy their holiday much more than while they're overwhelmed by all the different changes that are going on in whatever house you're having Thanksgiving in.
And the other thing that's so important is so often our families feel isolated, right? They
Correct.
feel like they can't participate in family events or other community events because maybe it's just a lot to explain, or they come. So if you can start out, so we talk about the social story for the child. Why not have that call with your mom, or your aunt, or your sister who's hosting, and pre-send this? I mean, what are some other things, especially you as a mom, like so that you want to be at Thanksgiving, you want to be with family. How do you? We all know this. It's much about letting everybody else know. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I have no qualms because I'm his advocate. Because first of all, if he wants to sit at the table with everybody and just eat cranberry, I'm going to let him sit at the table with everybody. If he wants to lead, we happen to pray. And really, this is a good picture of my little crazy family because we have, most of us are adults, but we do have young kids. Have them participate in preparing as much as possible. I know Grandma might not want them touching her fine china, but maybe they can, I don't know, whip up the sweet potatoes, put the marshmallows
batter.
on. Yes. Exactly. Yes. Include them as much as they're willing to. And also, think about your reinforcers, their rewards. This is a great time to get kids just to taste food, maybe touch it, but I'll let my family know that's on me. Don't ask him, don't push him.
Exactly.
Because you know what? He's going to turn around and say, I'm ready to go home.
Right.
And guess what? We're going to have to go home or we're going to have a big meltdown.
And that's a best case scenario. Right? He says, I want to go home, please.
And then you have no idea why. So it's that thing of you're both like yes, yes, and yes. So you're not asking anyone to do anything that's unreasonable, but just to be understanding and accommodating and preparing them.
A social story is as much about people who are not familiar with the child's routine as it is about the child.
Yeah.
And I loved what you said about sampling or smelling foods, even being in the same room with a brand new food. It's true. If you have a hand in preparing something, you might just dip your finger in there and smell it. Everybody knows there are so many steps to trying a new food, and we work on that 362 days of the year.
You're so funny, but think about it, like with babies, right? So sometimes I think we forget what we did with our little babies, right? You had to slowly, and you just put it on the tip of that tongue.
Exactly.
Like you had to let them play with it. You had to. So what I always try to remind people of is, it's the same thing with people with IDD or on the spectrum or with sensory issues. Yes, they're a bigger human, but that neurodevelopment is the same thing.
Exactly.
Right. So no, they can't go chucking it across the room, right? This is, you have those non-negotiables, right? But put some, I think about even mac and cheese. My husband's aunt makes it with ham in it, right? Whereas I remember the first time I got there, I was like, what? That's not mac and cheese. So everybody, when you go to these things, it may even be mac and cheese that he loves, but then somebody prepared it differently or put breadcrumbs on it, right? So
or
Yes.
they perceive it.
Sure.
Even if it's not different. Oh, no.
Mom serves it in a round dish,
Yeah,
not a
in the same
rectangle
dish.
dish, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They will.
Or it's going to come from the same brand,
Yeah.
the frozen macaroni and cheese
That's
that
right.
we
The
should
box
buy.
is different.
Exactly.
You're right.
Show me the box, lady. Show me the box. You're like, no.
Right.
Okay, so moving on to the Christmas, Kwanzaa, and Hanukkah, and I don't know why I keep forgetting Hanukkah. And they're all so different, so many different things, so many different things. But the big tips to take away for Thanksgiving are, I think we've got them really well, like stick to the routine as much as you can, cross and form as much as you can, prepare and be tolerant, and more importantly, help prepare everybody else that you may be going to
Exactly.
and being at a house that may not be yours.
That's
So-
almost more important sometimes than preparing the child.
Yes.
Is preparing other people who are not always around your child.
Okay. So then I had said earlier, it's like Christmas is more often in your family home. And so most of what the happenings there, because you have your tree, you have the gifts. One of the things you had said about waiting, and you, if you could talk about it, the waiting turns is another huge thing for, again, our population and lots of people. I don't like to wait. I peaked when I was, I don't know how old, and it wasn't even my present. My sister got the present, so I was devastated, so I've never peaked again. But, you know, those things are really important. So tell us a little bit about don't put everything under the tree thing.
Yes. I think I just had a little one this morning who's going to Legoland on Saturday.
Big fun.
And it's all about waiting. And his mom uses a calendar. She has a picture of a Lego on Saturday, and she crosses off the days. Today she's going to cross Thursday off. Tomorrow she'll cross off Friday. And I heard the little boy say, Saturday is the day for Legoland.
Yes.
When we were in therapy this morning. So I think preparing for the waiting in a visual way and a way that the child could count themselves is important. If you put all of the wrapped presents under the tree on December 1st, you have, if you're celebrating Christmas, you have 23 or 24 days that child is going to be looking at all of those gifts and being tempted to find out what's inside of them. So maybe wait. It's okay. Even waiting until Christmas Eve to put the wrapped gifts out. Playing pretend games and turn-taking games leading up to that time can dovetail right into that time of opening gifts where there's a sequence. The child gives the gift to the person whose name is on it. They wait for them to open it, enjoy it, and say thank you. They take the wrapping paper and put it in the big bag. Now it's somebody else's turn. And maybe you can give your child 2 presents when it's their turn, to everybody else's 1 present to open. But keep it a sequence, keep it predictable, and having a social story leading up to it, and also having those days of playing turn-taking games can make a big difference on the big day.
And so, thank you. That reminded me, our November Across the Spectrum is going to be an Across the Spectrum and an event, and it's going to be in Edgewood ISD at the Burleson Center.
Wonderful
and we're going to be
place.
doing games, right? Just games, so that we are practicing turn-taking, so that when you have, because you know, when your family's together, and also the huge breaks of time that they have out of their routine for school, how do you help them learn games and turn taking, and then also, again, the other people they're playing with, to just be like, it's fine, let him Candyland twice. I mean, like what he's, you know, it just. So that'll be our November one. So look for that Facebook Live. It'll be in the evening, not in the daytime.
And we are dovetailing on that event.
That's right. Yeah.
We're having our Friendsgiving event. There will be food provided, and I will actually be speaking at the Burleson Center after that on expanding food diversity and a special focus on like Thanksgiving and what food strategies you can specifically use for a child who does not have a diverse palette and how to get around that with all of the other overstimulating things that have to do with Thanksgiving.
So it's a twofer. So look for more of that on the Autism Lifeline links and on the Autism Community Network Facebook pages. Okay, so we're about out of time and we don't have any questions. So we hope that you take this opportunity to send any of those in. Any other big things? When trying to wrap this all up, right? Your calendars are so important.
Yeah.
We laugh, but again, my calendar is insanely. I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning because I thought, where did I leave my calendar last night?
Boy.
I even went outside because I've been on the phone making appointments. I went out to my backyard. And I was like, where did my calendar? It was on my nightstand. Not where it needed to be, but they're important, right? And they help us to track, meter, plan, and understand what the profile of our day in life is going to look like.
And decrease anxiety.
Decrease anxiety.
And removing these is like removing this.
Good, Rach. Yeah.
I tell my parents, because these may not, this is not going to be forever. And how would you like it when you come in for our training every Thursday night, if I asked you to give your phone to me, their faces dropped.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, same difference.
Yeah.
I said, our
Great
kids,
analogy.
Yes. So, because we use this
For everything.
Yes.
So keeping routines, even though knowing that they're going to modify because of school breaks, going to someone different's house, traveling at a time of day when you usually don't. And a lot of these things, Thanksgiving turns into dusk very quickly at this time of year.
Or in a mode of transportation that you've never been on.
That's right. What if you're taking a choo-choo train? Who gets to go on a choo-choo train these days, right? Taking turns, whether that is on the holidays and opening gifts or just in general, desensitizing and helping familiarize. If you had to pick 3 key phrases, each of you, to keep in the back of your mind for this next 3 months.
I would say social stories. Social stories, modify expectations and traditions, and hope for the best, but build yourself up knowing that you tried the best you could and the outcome is going to be better because you prepared.
Love it. We're always saying, cut yourself some slack, right?
Yes.
Things are going to happen. They'll be unexpected. Even normal Thanksgiving, without the extra of a person with special needs, or something always goes wrong. Somebody already says something. You get into political. Come on. So there's so many things that are not within our control this time of year. So the most you can prepare with social stories and routine and prep. I love it. I love it. What about you?
Yeah, and I believe in change. It's a fact of life, so it's okay. And I have a big part of
I love your visual for change.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Practice it, explain it. Be prepared. Yes, prepare. And practice. And you know what? These are the holidays. Have fun. And what we like to say is meet your kid or the individual you're helping to support. Meet them where they're at.
Exactly.
This is the time to do it. Halloween's not all pretty, and it's just what we want to do is increase their ability to participate in family events and community events. That's what this is all about. So have fun.
Right. Life is not a Hallmark movie. It never turns out that way.
No.
It isn't. It's absolutely not.
Yeah, and it's okay.
Exactly.
It is. And I think that's great notes to land on. And I think that, as you guys have said brilliantly, we are here to try to help increase awareness.
Yes.
And that starts with everyone understanding that everybody's a little bit different and everybody receives information differently. Every single human on earth receives information differently and communicates uniquely and differently. And so the more we can help to create environments for success, then the better not only that child's day is going to be, but that family, so they can participate and be a member of their family community and their broader community. So we hope that this was helpful. And go to the Autism Lifeline Links website. Not to the website, but to the Facebook page. And Rachel is going to go back to any of you can and get these posted up. You have the website for the social stories. We held that up. And we will look for you in November. And we thank, again, Autism Community Network for hosting. Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Love being
Thank
here.
you.
Yes, thank you.
See you guys later.